and develop that saving habit?
I think let's take a step back and kind of dive into my own journey, having joined the investment industry myself.
Yeah.
I looked around Elokishini. I grew up in Cape Town. I was raised by a single mom.
Yeah.
And, you know, this whole thing around saving and investments was something that, you know, she couldn't explain to me. So I decided, okay, you know what, I'm going to go study economics and finance and investments and kind of find out more about it through structured learning. And it did bother me, though, that so many people in my community couldn't actually educate me in terms of, you know, building wealth and investing, because these are all the things that the haves are so literate at.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was quite baffling to sit in that room, in that lecture hall, and kind of hear about the investment principles for the first time, and see what the power of compound interest, which is what you spoke to earlier, to say if you had known much earlier around the saving strategies, the investment strategy, you'll be a multi-billionaire right now, which I'm very happy for you for. But it's like, how can we then give our children, you know, a better head start? Because even for me, sitting there, I was like, where would I be had I known about these principles much earlier? So I think it's very important for us as youth to really start a different narrative with our children. So starting them young, having these conversations with them, getting them to understand what budgeting principles are about, you know, what investment vehicles we've started for them, with them, and for ourselves, but also how we actually look to them to continue the wealth that we're generating. So for me, it's a matter of, firstly, if I was younger, I would definitely want to know these savings principle, investment principle much earlier, so that I can really enjoy the power of compound interest. But secondly, make less mistakes. With money, we've made so many mistakes as young people. Some of us have even become parents while making those mistakes. And the money mistakes we make are very expensive and take a long time to track back. Lastly, we are also probably the first people in our families to really set the track record around generational wealth. And so we've got the responsibility to build the wealth and kind of using our incomes responsibly, but also educating our children so that when they take over that wealth, they use it responsibly as well. So having those conversations with our kids is very important.
I completely get that. And right now, we are the adults that should be modeling the right ways and sort of inhibiting the right patterns for our kids to see. Could you just inform us what sort of saving patterns should a young adult like myself be having to inspire my son?
Luthando, before you answer that, let's take a quick break. I'm also interested in that because savings for us as young people, we need to get into that pattern. So we're going to definitely get those saving patterns from Luthando Mzilikazi, who's joining us, a certified financial planner and investment specialist, right after this.
30 seconds. The length of this radio spot. But that's all the time you need to dip out with Omar Rusks. Dip out from the hustle and bustle. Dip, dunk, crunch. 30 seconds. It's not just a break. It's a warm, delicious, crunchy escape. A moment of deliciousness away from the madness. Next time you've got 30 seconds, dip out with Omar and make your break dipping delicious.
Want to be a lawyer? Start your legal journey with Boston City Campus's Bachelor of Laws degree. Register now to start your LLB degree on the 28th of July. boston.ac.za. Serious about education, serious about you.
We all have an enemy.
Not me.
Oh, please. Trust me, you do. Some are vocal about it. I mean, they don't shy away from it. Open hatred. Well, at least they're honest about it. Then you get our Satan. Oh, they will hate you in the shadows. Consult the Magoya of Baloi. Maybe an Nkabi for you here and there. Trash your name until it can't even be recycled. Tune into My Secret Enemy and get a front row seat to some of the most spine-chilling stories in the Hall of Betrayal. My Secret Enemy, Mondays at 6 p.m. only on S3. Open up.
It's Big Red Weekend for 4 days only. ShopRite's bringing you up to 50% off on deals like 400-gram Parmalat cheese slices for 50 Rand. Any 2-liter Spa-Letta, Twist or 1.5-liter Coca-Cola cold drinks for just 25 Rand. An 800-gram Recoffee refill pack for 99 Rand. 9 Baby Soft 2-ply toilet rolls for only 59 Rand. And a 1.7-liter Optimo or Essentials cordless kettle, just 180 Rand. Valid till Monday, 16 June. Big Red Weekend, only at ShopRite.
It's 23 after 8 a.m. on the best mornings. We are rising and shining with savings. We're joined by Luthando Mzilakazi, who's a certified financial planner and investment specialist. Before I cut her off, Zola, you asked a very important question.
Really important question. Just asking, in terms of us now being the adults, how do we model the right saving patterns for the young ones to sort of see and be inspired by?
Luthando?
I think it's a very good question, but I'd like to just expand on the question a little bit.
Go ahead.
Because I've developed something called the Triple S framework, which actually speaks to how, as adults and even as parents, how should we teach our children about, using money in the most optimal way. So the first S speaks to spending. So teaching them how to spend.
Yes.
I think this is probably the most natural thing to do. So when you give your child an allowance, they kind of know instinctively that the best thing to do, or the first thing to do, would be to spend the money. But the point is to actually help them craft a very intentional strategy around how they spend their money, and then through that you should be introducing them to budgeting skills, because the budgeting helps them understand boundaries of actually, okay, if I'm given 1,000 Rand a month, how should I use this 1,000 Rand optimally, rather than just spending willy-nilly and not being quite intentional about the money energy that the child gets. The second layer is about how to save the money. So with that same 1,000 Rand, your responsibility as the parent is to actually educate your child on saving. And you use that 1,000 Rand a month as an example as to what they could be setting as money goals that they'll be saving towards, but also what kind of vehicles they can be saving within, or using which vehicles to actually help them achieve those money goals. The third then would be how to share the money. I think as adults, we all know that, we share our monies with so many people, with organizations, with churches, with our parents, with our siblings, with our lovers, with our children. And so being able to set boundaries as to ensuring that whatever you are sharing, you're sharing from an overflowing pot rather than a pot where you're actually quite restrictive, and now you have to resort to things like taking on credit, overdrafts, that kind of thing. So this Triple S framework is important for our children as we actually teach them about managing money, but it's also important for us as adults to consider and exercise, because our children do what we do, not as we say. And so if we're not doing the spending wisely, if we're not doing the saving wisely and also sharing properly, then we are actually not modeling the right behavior. Now, when you talk about the savings part of it, which is your main question, there are a number of investment vehicles that you could consider in that category, right? Let's take something that's very simple for every parent to understand. So if you're saving towards your child's education, most people are saving for like 5 to 10 years, but actually you should be saving for about 15 years, because that child is probably going to still go to university after they finish matric, and not a lot of kids actually get bursaries. So what are you need to be counting on? You need to be counting on your own investment vehicle. So when it comes to like saving for a 15-year horizon, you can be considering things like a tax-free account, a flexible investment account. So these are all accounts that you can look to invest in for long periods. Endowments are also quite powerful in that regard. Then when you're saving for shorter periods, you're looking at things like you're putting money away in a bank account or in a side pocket within your bank account. So at Nedbank, we've got the Nedbank Money app, obviously, and then within that, you've got an ability to actually create a pocket. So that kind of reserves a portion of what's available in a bank account and to put it aside. So that helps, but that's for very short term kind of budgeting or allocation of money on the side. So the major difference as well between, because I heard you guys talk about saving quite a bit, and here I've convoluted investments and saving. So saving is when you're putting money away for a very short period that is less than 12 months. So there you're putting money away maybe to go on a gold trip, or you want to buy a cell phone, or those kinds of things, short-term orientated stuff.
Emergencies also in there?
Emergencies are also there, and emergency accounts or emergency saving vehicles are supposed to be, 3 to 6 months worth of your monthly salary. Okay. So that's when you know you've got a fat enough emergency account to really tide you over during the tough times. That's like short-term orientated saving strategies. Then you've got the longer-term stuff that's more than 12 months. And there we talk about investments. And why this difference is quite critical to understand is because the vehicles that you then put your money in, depending on what the time frames towards your goals are, is very important.
Okay.
So that's just to start off the conversation.
Sure. So what I'm getting is that you start off by your objective.
Yes.
What is your objective with money?
Yes.
Now let's go back to the kids. I'm particularly interested in how you start the conversation with the kids, because I know it's never too late to start saving and having that conversation with the kids. But how do I start talking to my son, who is 11 years old now, who's already developed his spending habits because I allowed them at the time? I wasn't privy to this conversation. How does the conversation start in a way that will at least allow them to start with these saving habits?
I think you need to look to what already inspires them and intrigues them in terms of saving, but also on spending. So it goes back to that Triple S framework. So try to put yourself in their shoes and then inspire them from there. So, for example, like I made the example earlier around like the 1,000 Rand allowance. So now when you give your 11-year-olds the 1,000 Rand, you should sit down with them and actually map out a budget for them.
Okay.
And the budget should include expense line items that, are relevant and real for them. And then even from a savings perspective, when you talk about the second S in the Triple S framework, there you need to actually help map out the opportunity set of money goals that they can set based on things that are interesting to them. And actually what's very nice about this conversation is that you learn who's in front of you. Yeah. You learn what that child actually wants to achieve with their money. But now you're at least part of the craftsmanship of what that journey actually looks like by engaging them in the conversation. And then again, when you think about the sharing portion of, the Triple S framework, you also learn about the things that they care about in terms of who they'd want to share their money with. Because also we don't want self-absorbed children who then become adults. We want children who are going to be open to sharing their money, but responsibly, not in the way that I think our generation is actually doing it.
Aye, generation yet.
Oh,
generation yet.
I can't wait to ask the next question that I'm going to ask, because it talks about our generation.
As a generation yet in Kumbuza Antoni, it reminds me of this.
Yeah, no.
It's 8:30. It's time for us to get into sports with, of course, Owen Honey. We're going to continue with the conversation. We are joined by Uluthando Mzilakazi, who's the certified financial planner and investment specialist. We're also live on the socials, on YouTube, as well as Facebook. You can also engage with the conversation. In fact, we want to ask you, as a parent, how are you teaching your child to save better? Those savings patterns, the conversation, how does it go? What do you do? Do you monitor their bank account? Does that help? Hit us up, 060-552-7303.
The Sports with Owen Honey.
Let's start with rugby news. An injured Rugby World Cup Player of the Year, Peter Steph-du-Toit, was released yesterday from the Springbok squad, preparing for the first 4 matches of the international season. The 32-year-old lock, who plays for Japanese club Toyota Verblitz, is among 6 injured players who will not feature against the Barbarians, Italy and Georgia from June the 28th through to the 19th of July. In case you missed the opening fixtures of the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup, goalkeeper Mohamed Al-Shanawi kept Lionel Messi at bay as Al-Ali held into Miami FC to a goalless draw in their Group A opening clash in Miami. Bundesliga giants Bayern Munich, they thrashed amateurs Auckland City from New Zealand 10-0 in their opening fixture, with Jamal Musiala scoring a hat-trick. Paris Saint-Germain picked up right where they left off in their first match since winning the UEFA Champions League last month, turning what was billed as a blockbuster into a 4-0 routing of Atletico Madrid in their Group B opener. And Palmeiras and FC Porto played to a goalless draw in their Group A encounter at the MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, while Argentine side Botafogo held off Seattle Sounders 2-1 to move level on 3 points with PSG in Group B. Back home, record breaker Depo netted a brace of goals as Angola retained the COSAFA Cup title with a 3-0 victory over host South Africa in the 2025 COSAFA Cup final played at Toyota Stadium in Mangaung, Bloemfontein yesterday. Angola's back-to-back triumphs have taken them to their total of 5 wins in this competition, level with South Africa and behind only Zambia, who have 7, and Zimbabwe with 6. Depo walked away comfortably with the Golden Boot award after registering a record 8 goals in the tournament, exceeding the previous mark of 6 by Zimbabwe's Davide Karuru back in 2017. Motorsport news, Lando Norris apologized to McLaren teammate and championship leader Oscar Piastri yesterday for a Canadian Grand Prix collision he said broke the first rule of racing. Well, the Briton hit the back of Piastri's car as he tried to overtake 3 laps from the end of the race, a misjudgment that put Norris out of the race and damaged the Australian's car, albeit without consequence for him. Piastri finished in 4th place to extend his Formula One lead over Norris to 22 points, while George Russell won Mercedes' first race of the 2025 Formula One season. He fended off Max Verstappen, who finished in 2nd place, with Mercedes teammates Kimi Antonelli taking a maiden F1 podium in 3rd place. And finally, golfing news, JJ Spaun weathered pouring rain as well as handled 6 bogeys in his final round at Oakmont to win the US Open with a final round of 72 yesterday evening. The American sealed the victory with a mammoth birdie putt on the 18th to finish the day at 1 under, 2 shots ahead of Robert McIntyre, with Victor Hovland a further shot back in 3rd place. It was the first major victory for Spaun, whose previous best was 23rd at the Masters in 2022. I'm Owen Honey for Metro FM Sport.
Winter is better with Metro FM, keeping you company wherever you go. Metro FM. It's where you want to be.
Youth Day special. This Youth Day, Metro FM is not just celebrating, we're rather commemorating and empowering the future. Join us on Monday, June 16 today for the Financial Freedom in Our Lifetime Masterclass. A full day of powerful insights across your favorite Metro FM shows. The Best Mornings team right here. We're kicking it off with Rise and Shine with savings. Start your day with smart saving habits. And then on Breakaway, we're diving into earning opportunities and alternative income streams for the youth. The Midday Link-Up team will be breaking down budgeting basics and why property is still king. The Touchdown team unpacks Investing 101. It's time to shift the barometer of black wealth. And we close off with the Metro FM Talk, where we explore how to build wealth the right way and create a lasting legacy. Knowledge is power. And this Youth Day, Metro FM is the masterclass to financial freedom. Only on Metro FM, it starts with you.
NSC's worldwide, only on Best Morning.
I'm going high. Nothing's gonna change my mind. I already set my sights. No hesitation. I got all my expectations at a different kind of elevation. Tired of feeling down and out. Voices that I'm drowning out. Nothing's gonna hold me down. Knew from the start it was hard and the odds were against me. Knew in my heart nothing else in this world would distract me. Talk to the stars and they told me the light is inside me. You just look up to the sky and you'll know where to find me. I'm going high. against me. Knew in my heart nothing else in this world would distract me. Talk to the stars and they told me the light is inside me. You just look up to the sky and you'll know where to find me. I'm going high.
His name is Loyiso. This one is called High on the Mighty Metro FM. Happy Youth Day. And our Youth Day special this morning on the Best Mornings is really about rising and shining with savings. We are joined by a certified financial planner and investment specialist. Her name is Luthando Mzilakazi, talking all things saving habits and how to introduce those saving habits to your kids, and also as well fresh and innovative ways on how you can save money.
You know, today I actually learned the distinct difference when it comes to saving and investments. You know, for me, it almost seemed like it's almost the same thing.
Yeah.
And today, literally learning that saving is rather short term and investing is rather long term. Now, how do we know what are the types of products we need to have actually rather for ourselves as parents and also for our kids?
So I think there are three critical products that you really need to look at investing in. The first is a tax-free account. And this was, of course, started more than 10 years ago to really encourage our middle to lower income groups to actually start saving.
Okay.
And it's really money for jam. These conversations much earlier because you would have been a multi-billionaire, that you can do that for your children through the tax-free. So the sooner that they actually have their own tax-free accounts, the more that money actually compounds over time, and so that when they get to become adults, they've got a lot more financial freedom and choice around what they do. So that's a tax-free account. The next one is an RA. A retirement annuity or a pension fund. A lot of us as adults are forced to have a pension contribution as a condition of employment, but some people don't. And if you don't, you really need to set up one, because this is not just great for yourself for when you actually are retired as a retirement income strategy, but it's also so that you don't depend on the children we are trying to protect financially. Because if you don't have any money at retirement, guess who's going to be funding your lifestyle?
Your kids.
And if they're funding your lifestyle, how are they
going to fund
themselves?
Tell me about it in Dakelin.
It's your birthright.
It's your birthright.
So these are the things that we need to really start considering for our children as well. Now, having been in the industry for more than 10 years, this is the interesting thing I've picked up about the wealthy in our environment. They actually set up retirement annuities for their children from birth.
No ways.
From birth. So while we start having our pension funds when we start working at 21 or 25, we've missed out on 25 years prior to that of compound interest and returns. So they set it up the moment their child is born. By the time the child actually starts working, they already have a couple of millions in their RA, and the one they have at work is just in addition. So they are leap years ahead of the curve when it comes to being retirement ready. It's also no surprise, because many South Africans don't do this. It's also no surprise that only 6% of South Africans can actually retire comfortably. And retiring comfortably is not saying you're super rich or you're a multi-billionaire. It just means you've got the same lifestyle. Exactly. You've got the same lifestyle that you had before retirement, in retirement. 94% of South Africans can't afford that. So change your children's future in this discourse in terms of their retirement and your own by focusing on your retirement annuity.
And that's why we're having this conversation. We'll continue after this.
Babe,
hey,
are you looking at tiles again? Did you hit the jackpot and not tell me?
A little something like that, darling. With MyWay Insurance, we don't wait 3 years to get something out. It's my cashback. We'll be able to give our kitchen that mini revamp a lot sooner. Aesthetics, babe.
Introducing My Cashback from MyWay. Stay claim-free for just 2 years and get 10% of your premiums back to live your way. Go to myway.co.za and get a quote today. My Cashback is a feature on qualifying products paid after 2 claim-free years and all premiums paid. MyWay is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's apply.
Monday. It's the day that should have been an email. A day longer than finally getting to the front of the queue, only to hear, hey, is system offline? And you've got a million more Mondays just like it coming up. Next Monday, next meeting, next deadline, next challenge. So, when you need the 25-hour energy to un-Monday your Monday and take on whatever comes next, grab a Bawan and seize the Monday. Nestle Bawan. Energy for a 25-hour day.
Probably needed a hug, but decided to buy the Renault Kwid instead. Hear me out. Listening to moody songs on the infotainment system that seamlessly connects to my phone via Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. While sitting in the perfectly cushioned driver's seat with the light streaming through the open windows, kinda feels like a hug anyway. And for only $1,999 per month. Come on.
Get the stylish, SUV-inspired Renault Kwid for only $1,999 per month. Offer exclusive to Renault Financial Services. T's and C's apply.
It's Big Red Weekend. For 4 days only, ShopRite's bringing you up to 50% off on deals like 5 kg Goldie frozen mixed chicken portions for 179 Rand. A 1 kg tub of Blossom fat spread, just 25 Rand. 750 grams Cremora Creamer for only 49 Rand. A 500 gram Stay Soft refill pack for 26 Rand. And a 1.5 liter Essentials jug blender, just 200 Rand. Valid till Monday, 16 June. Big Red Weekend. Only at ShopRite.
Hey, Paul, what's the rush?
I'm off to SARS. I want to check if I'll be auto-assessed.
No need. If you're auto-assessed, SARS will send you a notice between 7 and 20 July.
So I just wait for the notice?
Exactly. If you get the notice, check it. And if you agree, you're done. Disagree, file using e-filing or the SARS Mobi app. If you don't get the notice, file from 21 July. Make tax matters your priority. Go to sars.gov.za and say goodbye to queues. SARS, at your service.
All right, let's wrap up our Youth Day special. We're joined by Luthando Mzilikazi, who is the Certified Financial Planner and Investment Specialist. We're talking all things savings. And just before the break, you were just about to tell us about the last product that is also very important that we need to be aware of. Continue with that.
100%. So this one is more of a risk product. So it's not an investment product per se. It's in the insurance policy side of things, and it's more of a life policy.
Okay.
So what we end up doing as parents, we kind of set up our will, we pass on, and we don't actually think about the liquidity in our estate. So the liquidity talks about how much money is in my estate when I actually pass on. And this is why you need to have money in your estate. One, when you're no longer there to service your children's needs, especially if you pass on and they're still in school, who's actually going to service the day-to-day runnings of the household while the estate is actually being wound up, which can take months or even years, depending on the size of your estate and the contention around it. The second thing is you need the liquidity in your estate because of capital gains tax, estate duty, and executive fees. And I mean, just CGT alone is 40% of the growth of your assets in your estate over time. So if you bought a house today and you pass on 20 years later, the growth on that house is insane. And 40% of that goes to CGT. You still have to pay executive fees, which is 4.025% of your total estate value. And you still have to pay estate duty, which is 20% of the total estate's value as well. And so if you've got no cash in your estate, who's paying for all of those fees? Likely it's falling on your children's backs, or the executor can decide to sell some of your assets that you think is going to your children according to your will. But actually, because it now needs to service all of these expenses that form part of your estate, and now the children don't actually get the full value of the assets that you had set up. So this is why a lot of people would take a life policy to pay out to their children's account or a guardian's account to service those day-to-day needs while the estate is being wrapped up, but also one that will then pay out to the estate itself to service the liquidity needs of the estate.
Protecting yourself.
100%. Protecting yourself, create the liquidity, but also plan better.
My gosh, it's also enriching to be able to find out information like this, and I think it's never ever too late to start your savings journey. Could you please also allow us to get into what are the mistakes that maybe the youth is making now in terms of their parents' wealth? Because it's always so exciting to know that, oh my gosh, the parents have built wealth for me, and we see incidents on I blew it. what is the common mistake that the youth is making when it comes to wealth that their parents have created for them?
I think the biggest mistake is they focus on spending the money because it's free cash. You know, they kind of feel like it's a bottomless tap of cash that's just landed on their back. And some of them are probably in a negative net position when you think about how much debt they actually have. And now they decide to spend the money because now, you know, I'm making it rain. The money has come for free. It's not money that I've worked hard for. But partly to blame is actually the parent not having discussed with the child what their intentions with the assets that they'll leave behind for them. So you need to start instilling those conversations and grooming the mind of your child so that when the day comes, because it will come for all of us, when we pass on and the assets need to go into our children's name, we need to educate them on how to actually handle that. And again, it goes back to that triple S framework, because if you're having those conversations with them now, they grow with the right kind of mentality and the right kind of money strategies that it's going to set them up for success for when they actually take over your estate. The second problem, and I'll go through that very quickly, is that they don't get a financial advisor. When you're sick, you go to the doctor. When you want to buy a house, you go to a conveyancer. When you inherit money or you actually land on some kind of cash, the first person you should, whether it's winning the lotto, you spoke about, I blew it, winning the lotto, the first person you should go to is your money buddy or money accountability person, which is a certified financial planner, because they can help you map out, you know, what to do with that money so that it really becomes the gift that keeps giving, but also it prevents you from your own blind spots and your own bad money patterns going forward.
Make better money decisions, and that's the power and the empowerment of Youth Day here at Metro FM. We want to help you save better and invest better. We're joined by Uluthando Mzilikazi, who is the financial certified. Certified.
It's important.
Certified financial planner and investment specialist. Luthando, as we let you go, where can people get in touch if they'd like to consult, if they really want to learn more and really start taking part in making better savings and investment decisions?
So I'm really excited by the fact that we've just started a joint venture between myself and my employer, New Group Investments, which is Nedbank's asset manager. We started a podcast series called The Value of Advice series. So if you just Google my name, Luthando Mzilikazi, and you say Value of Advice series on Google, it will pop up. There I unpack through 6-minute nuggets, you know, the value of advice. So if you've never had a financial advisor, what do they actually do? How do they help your money? How do they help this plan that you've got? If you've never had to pick one, how do you pick one? You know, what are the things you should be looking out for? You know, and setting up the expectation around that first meeting. What can you expect? What questions should you be asking to make sure that the one that's in front of you is going to be the right one for your life journey? For shorter conversations and getting into contact with me, they can go to moneyviews_SA on TikTok and Instagram. And I'm Luthando Mzilikazi on Facebook and LinkedIn.
Luthando, thank you so much for joining
Luthando,
us.
Thank you so much.
Woo, you're such a star. You are such a
You're
star.
a financial star.
Financial star.
My mom is listening.
Certified financial star. Luthando Mzilikazi, please check her out, the financial star. You must add that to your bio.
I will.
All thanks to Zola.
Yeah. You know, do we not have any voice notes that we could possibly take?
We're going to take a quick break and then we're going to check out the voice notes, because I want Luthando to hear the voice notes on how parents are teaching their kids to save better and what their strategy is. We're going to take a quick break and check out your voice notes.
It's Big Red Weekend. For 4 days only, ShopRite's bringing you up to 50% off on deals like 5 kg Goldie frozen mixed chicken portions for 179 Rand. A 1 kg tub of Blossom fat spread, just 25 Rand. 750 grams Cremora creamer for only 49 Rand. A 500 gram Stay Soft refill pack for 26 Rand. And a 1.5 liter Essentials jug blender, just 200 Rand. Valid till Monday, 16 June. Big Red Weekend, only at ShopRite.
Hey, Paul, what's the rush?
I'm off to SARS. I want to check if I'll be auto-assessed.
No need. If you're auto-assessed, SARS will send you a notice between 7 and 20 July.
So I just wait for the notice?
Exactly. If you get the notice, check it. And if you agree, you're done. Disagree, file using e-filing or the SARS Mobi app. If you don't get the notice, file from 21 July. Make tax matters your priority. Go to sars.gov.za and say goodbye to queues. SARS, at your service.
This week on Off Pitch Goals, After league and cup triumphs for Kaizer Chiefs, Orlando Pirates and Mamelodi Sundowns, George Maluleka, Lethono Majoro and George Lebesi embark on a journey to conquer the glamorous world of cosmetics. Join us as we find out how they maneuver through this highly competitive industry. Streaming on SABC Plus and SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4 on Saturday, 21 June at 8:30 p.m. Off-Pitch Goals, where we showcase how the stars score in business. Brought to you by SABC Sport.
Maybe one day you'll get her the ring she really wants. One day you'll build the gaming PC of your dreams. One day you'll get your son that guitar he's always imagined playing. Why wait? Make one day today. For jewelry, tech, gaming, appliances, and anything else you don't want to wait for, buy quality pre-loved goods at your nearest Cash Converters store and get a 6-month guarantee. Make life happen with Cash Converters. We buy, we sell, we loan cash.
It's almost time for us to be out of here, but the conversation with Uluthando Mzilikazi was one that is so insightful, especially if you want to change your ways when it comes to saving as a young person, not just for yourself as a young person, but also for your kids as a parent. It's very important. All right, let's check in with your voice notes on how you are teaching your kids to save better.
Good morning, Metro FM.
Good morning.
Happy Youth Day and the guest in the studio. As a parent, my take is whenever I give them money, I ask for a 10%. It doesn't matter how much I give them when they go to school. I ask for their 10% so that they can save it. That's how I'm doing it. By the way, I've got 2 kids and they're 10 years. So I started now to make sure that whatever that gets into their hands, they leave a 10% behind.
Makes sense.
Best show, great morning, and Metro FM is definitely where I want to be. Thank you. My name is Dindi Wetu.
Thank you, Dindi.
Hello, Metro FM.
Hello.
My name is Ronald Mzilikazi. I am Luthando's nephew in grade 9, and I wanted to know why she only refers to compounded interest, and why not simple interest, and how each one affects the rate of money that grows in your family's wealth.
Oh man, a grade 9. He's in grade 9. All right, we have to bring back Uluthando.
It's your nephew.
It's my nephew. It's my sister's son.
Yeah, no, Uluthando, we have to bring you back to answer that question.
Gotcha.
Simple interest, compound interest.
So simple interest is basically if you've got 100 Rand and you put in a simple interest vehicle, let's say it grows by 10%, it's 110. But then the next month, the growth of the 10% growth is actually not on 110. It's still on the 100 Rand.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to be in a compound interest vehicle, because in a compound interest vehicle, your money would be growing the next month by the full 110. So it'll grow on 110 Rand as opposed to the 100 Rand. So it's not just based, they don't calculate the growth on your contribution just based on the initial capital. It's whatever's in the account and it grows by that amount.
Okay. Luthando, we had to bring you back for that. Besesithi sharp Luthando. Come back, my sister.
When it comes to money. When it comes to money,
it's very important.
The conversation doesn't end.
Absolutely. All right. In a few minutes, we'll be wrapping things up. Kutso Teled is coming up next on The Breakaway.
What's on your mind? The random internet search on Breakaway.
If cheating was part of your past, what made you stop?
Back then, I used to go with my phone in the toilet, delete messages. It was the chaos that came with it. Like, now I'm just at peace. I don't even have a password on my phone.
I stopped cheating when I got cheated on. I got to feel how painful it is, to get cheated on.
Yo, Kutso,
talk to me.
I stopped doing all that because I realized that I was really selling myself short.
Elevate your work day with Breakaway. Oh, yeah. 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Metro FM.
You say my look